Raw Heavy Duty, what's going on, man? I got this transmission leak that's coming from the red PTO pump. We're going to check it out. Let's see what's going on right there. So it is leaking. It looks like there's a pinhole. So let's get to it. All right, so first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a 9/16 wrench and then go ahead and twist off the fitting off the PTO pump. All right, so now that we have removed the hose from that fitting, we're going to go ahead and cap off that fitting to prevent transmission to continue to leak. Now let's move on to the next side, so let's get to it. All right, so now we're going to grab the same 9/16 wrench and then go ahead and take that hose off from the other side. So remember, once doing so, we're going to cap that other side too to prevent the transmission fluid from coming out. All right, so now that we got the hose removed, remember that is the red PTO pump that is mounted to the transmission. Transmission give it mechanical energy, thus it's powered the hydraulic pump, and that would give you the whole hydraulic functions of the truck. And now we got the cap, we're gonna plug off the fitting, and now we're gonna move on to the next thing and create that hose. Now here is the old hose. As you can see, it is bent up pretty bad. It is cracked up. So that's definitely where it was leaking from. So now let's go ahead and make a new hose. Next step is picking the right hose. Now that we got the new hose, we're going to go ahead and put the old one and the new one side by side so that way we can get a somewhat accurate cut. Now, once you get the accurate size, you're going to go ahead and grip it down into the vise and then press down on the saw. Now, utilizing this saw, make sure that you pay attention and that your hand isn't in the way, because this thing pretty sharp. You can easily cut off your fingers. Next step is now choosing the right fittings. Once you chose the right fittings, then next step is to lubricate them. Now, once we pass that step, always make sure whenever that you put the hose into the fitting, slam it down in there just to make sure that is in there really good. Once you do one side, then you're going to do the other. Slam it down right in there. Just knock it as hard as you can just to make sure that it will not come out during usage. All right, so next thing is make sure that you get the right size plate. So since that I already did that, I didn't show it, but I put the right size plate on there. So once we press the button to clamp it down, it won't slide, it won't mess up the fitting. It's going to fit there real snug, and we're going to get it down real good. Now, once we got it clamped down, we're going to go ahead and switch ends. Once we switch ends, we're going to follow the same process. Clamp it down, close, release, close, release. We want to make sure that that fitting is clamped down to that hose pretty good, because once it's attached to the PTO and the pressure hits, they're going to apply a lot of pressure. All right, next step is applying the sleeve onto the hose.
Co-workers always talking about me making content.
Now, the purpose for the sleeve is a just-in-case type of thing, meaning if the hose tend to have a malfunction and fluids burst, the sleeve will catch it, keep it contained, and fluids will not leak everywhere. All right, so next thing to do is go ahead and remove the old cap. So once we do that, we're going to go ahead, remove it, and then start to install the new hose. Now, once the new hose is installed, we're going to go ahead and tighten it down with the 9/16 wrench that we used earlier. So now that we're tightening it down, make sure that it's snug. And then now we're going to go ahead and put the other end on, and let's get to it. Now that we're removing the last cap, we're going to go ahead and install the other end of the hose to that fitting. So we're going to go ahead and tighten it down, and then we're going to go ahead and get our 9/16 wrench and go ahead and snug it down. Now that the new hose is installed, I like to go ahead and get a can of brake cleaner, spray the area, knock off any type of residue, transmission fluid, whatever's left from the job. Now, this is the finished product of installing a new hose on the PTO pump.